Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today. With me now is Andy Bauer, and Andy's the branch manager of Heritage Cooperative. And Andy had a very unique demonstration here at Farm Science Review. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, basically what we're trying to demonstrate and show people is the dangers of getting into grain bins and trying to make sure that they have somebody outside that bin with them in case of engulfment and getting trapped in the grain. It can be inside a bin, it can be in a truck, it doesn't really matter. In demonstrations, we have used a training dummy from the Urbana Fire Department, and we were able to bury him in a semi-truck load of grain in 2.5 seconds. Wow. And so it's something that can happen very quickly, or as our demonstration here, it took a little bit longer because we aren't flowing that much grain out through. But once you're caught in that grain, you can't get out if it's above your knees to mid-thigh. And you basically have become trapped, and you have no way of moving. And so what we're trying to do is encourage people that if somebody is working inside that bin, that use a buddy system, make sure somebody's on the outside, and if they do become engulfed in that grain, then how to get them back out. And call the local fire department, call for help, and don't jump into that bin by yourself trying to get that person out. 9 times out of 10, that second person becomes a victim themselves.
You know, it's interesting when we talk about farming. It's not just jumping in the combine or planting corn. There's a lot that's involved in every farm, and I think for people that are in the city, in the urban areas, need to know too that farmers make every attempt not only to bring a quality product but to be safe on their property as well. Yeah,
to be safe. We had an incident in a farm in our area where a grandchild had gotten into the semi-truck and nobody knew where he was, and he got buried. There was an incident in California back in the end of May that a truck driver had pulled into an elevator, was starting to unload that load. His son, he was 13, climbed up onto the top of the truck. Nobody knew where he was, and next thing you know, he's coming out the bottom, and it was too late. And so there's been 34 deaths last year by engulfment in the country. In our immediate area here in the last 12 years, there have been at least 6 that we know of. And so a couple of them were real close to us industry-wise, and so we're trying to get that word out. We started doing these demonstrations and training of local fire departments ourselves because nobody knew what to do. And so we're trying to encourage that and trying to develop more of a working relationship with our industry and the local fire departments.
Andy, how important is it to have a live person involved in this demonstration? I could see that just from the crowd reaction, the nervousness and the attention that you got when you actually had a live person in this demonstration. I think that really gets their attention.
It really does, and we've done the training with our own employees. And in the training that we went to originally, yes, we each got into the bin and we're buried. And it gives you more of a feel of what it's really like. It feels like a blood pressure cuff around your entire body. And the pressure is just so great. And like I say, once you're in, you can't move. And we had one person in earlier today, or yesterday I guess it was, and she could move around and bend at her waist. But from the legs down, she couldn't do anything else. We had a reporter in there this morning that said, "Hey, I want to experience it," and she was able to get one leg out because she had bent that leg going down a little bit, but she couldn't get the other one out. And it's amazing how quick you can become trapped, and how difficult it is to try and get back out. And the buddy system is the thing that we're basically, if you want to call it that we're looking at, is making sure that there's somebody on the outside, that they know how to shut down the equipment so that you can stop the flow of grain and then go get help.
With us now is our victim from today's demonstration, Dee Jepsen, who works for the Ohio State University in the safety department of all things, right?
I'm your state safety leader for Ohio State University Extension, yes.
Well, tell us, what did it feel like when you were engulfed in there? I'm sure it was kind of obviously confining, but tell us your feelings on it.
Well, anybody who's ever been in grain, you understand that it flows around. You felt a little bit like quicksand at the beginning as I was shifting and moving down into it. But then as the grain kind of got around me, I felt a lot of restrictions. And I know I only went up to my waist, But had we gone up any higher, I don't know if my diaphragm would have been able to open and close, and my breathing. And when I came out, I was really, my heartbeat had changed because my blood pressure had been restricted so long in my legs, and I was only up there for 20 minutes maybe. So.
Well, Dee, what would you? I noticed that you were talking to the crowd when you came out. What were some of the things that you were saying to the crowd here?
Well, the big thing is, as farmers work in the fields, and they do have to enter bins. I mean, of course, the message that they had was never enter a bin alone, and they can talk about that. But I thought about when I was a child, and I would play in flowing grain or with my grandfather's farm, and it wasn't grain like this. It was just a feed storage unit, and anything, sand, mulch, feed, will shift around like that. And so we would never want children to be in that situation or think it's fun, play in the grain, bury each other. And so I guess those brought back some childhood memories that maybe I shouldn't have been doing that back then either.
I had an EMT walk up a little bit ago and talk about an incident. She said, we don't have very many grain silos or grain much in our area. We're more hay. We had a son of a farmer that was playing in the hay, and his father told him to get away from it. He went over to an outside windrow, crawled in underneath, was playing in it. The neighbor came bringing fuel and ran over the boy. And so it doesn't have to be grain. And we just want to basically tell people, be safe and be careful. Maybe it's the daughter's kids that have come from the city to see the farmer and see what dad or grandpa does on the farm. And nobody really tells them, hey, this is dangerous. Stay away from it to begin with.